So we've done this walk a couple of times. We're out here at Sweet Arrow Lake. It's a walk that I can handle, which is why I enjoy doing it. It's the sensory trail, which I think is such a neat thing that they've done here. So we're going to be doing that again. We're sort of doing it for Hometown Harmonies because I want to get a couple shorts that have to do with the creek, and then also the waterfall that's there at the bridge. At some point I will be doing a long form with probably this creek and with the waterfall. So let's go on a hike. So it's just so neat walking here along, and it's cool too, they have this rope here for people to be able to go along for the sensory trail. Made primarily for people that are blind, but it's also a really cool teaching tool for kids. I want to bring Josh and Sharon out here at some point with the kids, so their kids can experience just some of this really cool nature type stuff. But it's just so neat, the efforts that went into this and how brilliant this really is. And you can see we're just going along the lake, so it's just such a tranquil place of serenity. And like I said, for somebody that's handicapped like me, this is a really, you want to get out, you want to do a little bit of hiking. You know, if trails are sort of, I don't know if you guys can see the little guy there, but there are chipmunks everywhere out here. There's a third one that I've seen. He just sort of popped out in front of me. So, and then it'll talk about these different ones where you have like the sound as a braille, the sounds and scents of Sweet Arrow Lake. And then it'll go into these different trees where you can actually, the sensory of being able to touch and experience a little bit of nature. It's just a very, very cool idea. I like the fact that it's like this boardwalk. So it's a flat surface. So for me, that makes it accessible. It's accessible for people like with wheelchairs and stuff like that as well, that they can actually come on this and enjoy a bit of nature. Ralph was enthused about this when we came here because they have, it's like a butterfly garden. That's something that matters a great deal to him because he loves butterflies and Luna moss and all that. They're actually up in, I was going to try to go with them originally. He and his friend Donnie were going up the Adirondack mountains, but I'm just not physically capable of doing it at this stage, and just there's a lot of stuff going on. So they're up there. They went up to Lake Placid on a cool adventure. Hopefully sometime we'll be able to do that, because originally we were going to go down to Great Smoky Mountains, and that of course didn't work. So then he switched it to Adirondacks, and I just not able to do that either. But Craig R. Morgan Walking Trail. It's cool that they have these benches here, and you can hear the sound of the fall. Looky there. I believe that's a red squirrel. That is not a chipmunk, that's a red squirrel. I have not seen one of them. That, or it's a small gray squirrel. Correct me if I'm wrong. That looks like a red squirrel. That's a red squirrel. How cool is that? So see the little buddy, he's all squirrely and he's like, "Rah!" He's just sitting there. You see his eyeball there. Yeah, how neat is that? Pretty darn tootin' sure that that is a red squirrel. See his bushy tail there. He's preening himself because he knows he's pretty. Very, very cool. Let's let him go. We'll go back to our walk. But how neat is that? This is the type of stuff when you go on these adventures, it's just sort of neat because you're not necessarily expecting different things like that, but then when it happens, it's sort of like, whoa, really, really cool. Here they talk about the different trees that are around here. And like I said, the thing I like that's really, really cool is some of these places where it allows you, I think coming up here on the left, it allows you to reach out and touch the moss. Talks about the common trees like the eastern hemlock, the silver maple, and northern red oak. So it's not only is it a cool thing for people that have the sensory needs, but it's also very, very cool for just like kids to be able to see this, view this, be able to reach out and touch, and you just see how beautiful the creek is here, the sounds. A lot of water in the last month of May. I think it was the highest in record, I believe. So the creeks are where they maybe a little higher than they normally would be, but it's sort of nice to see things at water levels that are a little higher than they've been. Took Josh and Sharon and them out to this here eastern hemlock. You can reach out and you can touch it, feel the bark, and just experience a little bit of nature. But it's so neat being able to experience. You can see the rocks over there on the side as the creek has worn down through here over the years. But it's just, these nature sounds are so extraordinary. It just soothes the spirit. John Muir used to always talk about how, you know, he got a sense of his soul back when he would go out in nature and just experience, you know, the joys of nature. Well, we can sit here for a little bit and enjoy those sounds and talk a little bit. But it's just a real short trail, so it's very easy for people to handle, especially somebody with disabilities and those types of things. But just to experience this, to listen to the sounds, see a little birdie, looks like a starling. He's scratching himself down there. Now he's gone. But you just get to see nature as it's meant to be seen and experienced and felt. And like I said, with this particular trail, with the way they built it, really is a tribute to Sweet Arrow Lake, to Pine Grove Township, and making a place where people can go and experience really something quite amazing. Like to experience a little bit of beauty of the falls down there, and then you get to see the creek as it leaves Sweet Arrow Lake. This is Swatara Creek. Once again, that's the Lenape term for we feasted on or fed on eels. So it has a very important meaning as well because of this having such an importance in the native people's lives, as this was a place of subsistence. You know, you needed your next meal. You knew you could come to the Swatara Creek, and there it talks about white pine and hemlocks, which will be over here. Like I said before, it's just such a neat thing. This is something that someone with a handicap can handle. It's not easy, but it certainly is nice to be able to go out and feel like you're a part of nature, because it's one of those things I just can't do a whole lot of. It's very, very difficult for me. So being able to come to a place like this really is a privilege and a pleasure. A lot of expense went into making this, and of course you have the upkeep as well, to have something like this available to the public is really one of those treasures of the area. Yeah, I think this is probably the strongest the falls have been in the many times that I've come out here. I really have come to adore this more and more. This was right outside my dad's back door. That is a rush. The power of nature that you're hearing right there. That's just, oh, that's extraordinary. And here's where you hold on to your phone really, really strongly, because I don't want to lose it. Just look at that. That's stunning. Go down a little further so you get a clearer view, but that is the power of water. Power of nature. So with that, I want to say thanks for coming along. It's a short trip, get a couple shorts and do a little bit of a hike, but as you hear right behind me are the falls here at Sweet Arrow Lake. Really, really neat. But thanks for coming along, and we'll see you on our next adventure. Huskers out there, my friends. We'll see you all about town.